Teachers often experiment with their instruction in the classroom, but they rarely use controlled experiments. Controlled experiments are critical because that's how we can prove what works and build generalizable knowledge. And that's why controlled experiments are so central to the practice of learning engineering. We're deeply familiar with these topics because we help build Upgrade, an open source A/B testing platform for educational software developers. But even with this platform, we found that designing and implementing controlled experiments remains difficult because it can take hundreds of hours of engineering effort to create the different software conditions that you're testing. It can also take a lot of engineering support to properly embed outcome measures like quizzes after a learning intervention so that you can measure it. All this is way too complicated for teachers and schools. And that's why we now have a vision for how to make it 100 times easier for educators to run controlled experiments in their own classrooms. And with the Catalyst grant, we plan to build a tool and a community that can help educators design, run, and share controlled experiments. Our tool, ReSource, will make it easier to run controlled experiments by focusing on the low-hanging fruit of A/B testing. It won't support any kind of test, just simple tests of the efficacy of different instructional media, like which of these two videos produces better learning, or which explanation is more clear, or which AI prompt is more engaging. Within these constraints, we can radically reduce the time and cost of educational experiments from hundreds of hours to less than an hour. These experiments can directly improve student learning outcomes and accelerate the learning sciences. So here's how it works. A teacher can log in and then upload different instructional variations, like links to different videos, different assignments, or different large language model prompts. Teachers can then define a sequence in the experiment, for instance, an optional pretest, the experiment, and a post-test. Teachers then link to their outcome measures, like a quiz or a survey, and then finally, ReSource can generate a link that the teacher can share with their students through an LMS or otherwise. When students visit that link, they're randomly assigned to the different condition of the experiment. So here's a case study of how a high school biology teacher might use ReSource to test the efficacy of two different AI prompts for teaching photosynthesis. For instance, she might want to compare an AI prompt that aims to reduce cognitive load, one theory, with an AI prompt that's more engaging, another theory. So to test these two different prompts, she'd log into ReSource, upload the prompts, then add an outcome quiz and satisfaction survey. Finally, she'd share the ReSource link with her students via their LMS, and then get the experimental results. She can then share those results with her students, or if she wants, share with the broader learning science community. ReSource generates easy-to-interpret data because it involves simple experiments where you can compare learning gains, changes in student attitudes, and engagement metrics like voluntary time on task. We're also supporting classroom-friendly experimental designs like crossover experiments, which provide greater power and enable everyone in the classroom to have the same learning material, just in a different order. Our long-term vision is for ReSource to support a new era of evidence-based instruction. For instance, to let any teacher compare which instructional video works best for their own classroom of students. But in the near term, we want to immediately apply ReSource to accelerate learning engineering research in AI. And that's because there's a real urgency for AI experiments in the classroom. That's because many educators are deeply concerned that AI like ChatGPT will actually hurt student learning outcomes. And we believe this calls for community-led explorations of what works in AI in the classroom, as well as replicated controlled experiments in the classroom. And resources designed to facilitate just this kind of bottom-up experimentation at scale. So we're piloting ReSource now with a few innovative institutions like Delft University of Technology and the Indian School of Business. And because of the enormous demand for AI tutoring, we believe we can scale to over 1,000 classroom experiments in the next 2 years. Our team is proven. We're former tools competition winners for Smart Paper, which is now used by nearly 5 million students just in the past 2 years. And with your help, we can now produce the world's easiest system for A/B testing in the classroom, and hopefully along the way, revolutionize learning engineering at scale. Thank you very much.